Hey YouTube folks, Robin here with a new video on traveling Southeast Asia. We recently published our book, An Antidote to the 9 to 5 Way of Life, with the hope that some of you gain the necessary knowledge and put it to action in order to travel the world while working from your laptop. Online branding and marketing has opened the doors to a new way of securing a steady income, and we are eager to spread the word around that topic. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, and I mean, who really isn't into traveling, then check out our book. It retails on Amazon for less than a monthly Netflix subscription and is definitely worth every penny if you're willing to change your current situation. Okay, enough of that, let's get into the video. Southeast Asia is becoming more and more sought after in Western countries, and there are a lot of reasons why. Beautiful beaches, partying until the sun rises, never-ending jungles, hidden waterfalls and beautiful cultures you cannot find anywhere else in the world. And the best of all, you can travel extremely cheap in Southeast Asia but still enjoy some luxury from time to time. When establishing an online brand from your laptop, there are a few key factors you have to consider. One of them is definitely money management, and you can be glad because we did a video on that last time. Go ahead and check that out before you start making plans traveling, because you will witness up and downs in your online journey, and sometimes there are parts where you don't have any income at all, and that's when it's most important to maybe cut back some spending, invest it otherwise, and live below your means for some time. Monetary struggle is always worth it in the end if you have the bigger picture in front of your eyes. Back in 2017, I went backpacking with a friend in Thailand, Cambodia and Vietnam for 5 weeks, and my total cost was around $800 with flights excluded. We spent the entire month of July in those countries and had lots of experiences to remember. Traveling in the summertime means pretty high temperatures you have to endure. Those were up to 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit for my American watchers. And the occasional rainy days were actually welcomed by us because it cooled everything down to like 30 degrees Celsius, which was pleasant, you could say. If you want to travel during the summer months, make sure to bring a raincoat and some anti-mosquito spray because they will be your biggest problem. I'm not saying that the rain is going to ruin your vacation because that's simply not the case, but it can get wet pretty quickly over there. The monsoon rain only lasts about 1 to 2 hours and occurred maybe twice a day for us, so don't worry too much about it. Otherwise, just travel in the winter months to escape the high humidity and rain. Now, if you're looking for adventures, this should come in handy, but if you want to relax in silence, take a second look at the tourist rates during each month and reconsider your plans. Another last friendly reminder for the planning of your trip: you don't necessarily need to vaccinate against malaria because it can get costly. I would advise you to consider vaccination against hepatitis A and B, since it's easy to do and use. Now, if you plan to wander around in remote areas up north and in the jungle, go ahead and purchase the malaria pills and vaccinate against rabies. But definitely go and talk to a doctor for any further medical advice. I doubt that anything bad would happen, but it's always better to be on the safe side, and we are in no way doctors or someone who claims to be. And with that being said, let's move on to the fun part. Our backpacking adventure, or route if you want to say so, was as follows. We arrived in Phuket, Thailand, with Thai Airways, which is an absolutely amazing airline. Then we took a boat ride to the Phi Phi Islands, or Phi Phi Islands if you want. Then another boat trip to Krabi, or more exactly Surat Thani. Then we went over to Koh Samui, Koh Phangan and Koh Tao. Then Bangkok by night train. Then with a bus to Siem Reap in Cambodia. Then another bus to Phnom Penh in Cambodia, the capital. We proceeded by bus to the Mekong Delta in Vietnam. And finally, we ended up in Ho Chi Minh City, where we also flew back with Singapore Airlines, which was arguably even better than Thai Airways. The comfort and space and service in both flights were exceptional. We had no problems when boarding the plane or when getting off. Everything went smooth as butter. As you can see, we did not travel all the way up to the north, although we considered it. Time management is hard if you don't plan the whole trip beforehand, and we just booked the flights and on our first hotel in Phuket. Everything between arrival and departure was totally spontaneous, and we don't regret that one bit. That way you can stay longer in places you enjoy and don't have to leave after just 2 nights, let's say. For booking our hotels and hostels, we use booking.com and our credit cards, so be sure to take one with you. You can easily find pretty cheap spots all over the 3 countries we traveled because the cost of living there is actually pretty low. That one time in Cambodia we were greeted with orange juice, a hot towel, a private tuk-tuk pickup to the hotel, and we paid like $8 a night. We had a swimming pool, we had a gym, we had actually 2 pools if I reconsider, and the place was simply amazing. But let's start with the first one actually, which was in Phuket, and this one was the worst we had, but that's a whole other story. All in all, we pretty much weren't off to a good start, as you can imagine, but we thought, well, it can only get better and we have to stay positive. This isn't the only place we're gonna stay, so it doesn't matter, right? Food and accommodation was no problem at all, since you can eat literally everywhere in tourist areas. We advise you to go with traditional Asian meals, since they are much cheaper than Western food in restaurants, and the locals are cooking rice and chicken on every street corner. You can buy a good portion for as low as $1, whereas you would pay $8 for a burger. Don't get me wrong, after 3 weeks of rice and noodles, it's not a crime to visit a nearby Burger King or McDonald's, but stick to local food if you want to save money and really enjoy the culture, I would say. You can also shop in 7-Elevens to get your daily dosage of coffee, toast and snacks, or buy groceries to prepare your own meals at home or at your accommodation. All in all, we traveled somewhere around 2,000 plus kilometers, and most of it by bus. The other modes of transport we used were boats, tuk-tuks, taxis and trains, I would say. You can easily book longer bus rides online or in shops nearby for as low as $10. We took the night train up to Bangkok and comfortably slept through the whole ride basically, a luxury you probably won't get on a bus. The roads in Southeast Asia are often very bad and you have to step outside from time to time because of pauses by the driver or when you're entering a new country. The night train cost us somewhere between $20 to $25, and getting visas in order to cross borders is usually not a big deal, because depending on where you're from, you can even get them on airports and borders for a small raise in price. When you want to see cities or villages, tuk-tuk drivers are the best bet. They are often famous for suddenly deciding to show you all the sights in the city and then charge you more than necessary. But if you agree on a price beforehand, then you don't have to worry. I advise using Google Translator and your download maps. You can easily download them in hotels via Wi-Fi. And the prices for an average tuk-tuk ride are around $2 and $5, depending of course on where you want to go and how far of a ride it is to get there. Most of the locals in Southeast Asia don't speak English fluently. This, however, does not apply to hotel, hostel and tourist center employees. You can ask them basically everything and you will get an understandable answer. We actually met quite a few foreign accommodation owners too. They came from places such as the Netherlands, Great Britain, Italy and Germany, and they were fluent in English of course as well. Feel free to ask them for recommendations in every way: restaurants, beaches, sites, clubs and possible tourist tours you may want to take. Ask locals as well, because they will know the best spots and hidden gems in their area, which are often not that crowded with tourists. Through the Mekong Delta itself, we took a boat ride and it was arranged by our small hotel in Can Tho. It was called Min Wong Hotel. Those were super friendly people, and there was only one other hotel guest because this area where we went wasn't that touristy at all. And the one other hotel guest ended up going on a boat ride through this Mekong Delta with us. We had a personal guide for us 3 and watched giant boats with over 100 people go by. You can imagine how glad we were not to be on their boat. The canoeist led us through the tiniest water gaps into the most tropical parts of the delta, and it was truly beautiful. We even stopped at the floating market, famous for its trading and delicious foods, and at a hidden restaurant where we could drink cocktails while chilling in a hammock at the same time. And all these 7 hours of entertainment for $30, I think. And this was even the costliest trip we made, excluding a snorkeling tour with an island trip in Koh Samui, but it was totally worth it. Ever since I saw a video on YouTube about the urban resort in Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia, I wanted to go there. So there was no way around to booking that hotel. So that was actually the second hotel we booked up front on, I think, the 22nd of July, if I remember correctly. So we had like a sort of schedule to arrive in Phnom Penh. But everything between Phnom Penh and our arrival in Phuket was totally random and spontaneous. This Aquarius urban resort was pretty amazing. It had an infinity pool on the rooftop. That's the reason we wanted to go there. We had an amazing meal and an amazing breakfast from which we could actually take some food with us from our following bus ride from the hotel to Vietnam. Another amazing experience we had was the full moon party on Koh Phangan. We stayed at a small guest house in the north of the island and actually traveled like 40 minutes by scooter down the road to the full moon party, and it started raining, actually pouring down, but this couldn't ruin the mood of the people, and eventually it stopped raining and everyone had a great time. Also a very good experience overall, but I could go on and on about our trip and the adventures we had. There simply isn't enough time and I don't want to bore you with my long stories. Instead, you should go out there and have some adventures by yourself. If you want to know more about my travels and advice, just let me know and I'll create some new content for you guys. And don't worry, I simply can't end this blog course and travel guide without mentioning some accommodation highlights, as well as sites you have to see for yourself. And don't forget to mention my name, of course, to get a discount there. No, I'm just kidding. You probably won't get anything, but I don't know, a warm handshake, I guess. And with that being said, I will just show the hotels, hostels, guest houses, sites, and other activities you can do in the video and stop talking from here on. So enjoy, take some notes, and remember that the prices may have changed until now. Alright, see you guys on the next one. I'm out.